Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions. I'm going to start a little mini series of behind the scenes on Seller Sessions. So there'll be just short snap bites, just to give you some insights. Of course, everyone listen, you're welcome to attend, of course, which takes place May 10th. All right, let's get into it. So if we were to break this down, look at the conference model. You attend a conference and you have wonderful speakers, and then there's a series of slides, and then you're sitting in the audience writing notes, you're taking pictures, and then you get back home and you got to make sense of those notes, but you might not return to them to about a week or so later. So what happens is you've got long-term memory and short-term memory. So we'll be using the VARK model. So you'll be learning visually, auditory, kinesthetically, which is through doing. So imagine this is a large scale hands-on workshop based around mastering the art of ranking and optimization, but using frameworks that you can work within. Now, we brought in likes of Sim and Oana and the boys at Product Pinion, all successful in their own right. Sim's got, I think, 11 brands. He's at 8 figures now. Jeff has worked with 30. He has under his agency 30 sellers, if I'm right, that have scaled to 8 figures. Now, a lot of this is down to not proven strategies, but using frameworks that you can build and iterate on them. So the problem with a proven strategy, these are great. There's no question about a proven strategy, but ask yourself, how many times have you spent 997 on something because someone increased their conversion rate by 200%, but you didn't? Now, proven strategy has to be proven once, and that's fine. It's the same like case studies. People are putting their best foot forward. There's nothing wrong with it. But in reality, if you imagine that if all proven strategies work for all products, you'd all be sitting on the beach somewhere and not attending conferences, not listening to podcasts, because why would you need more than a handful of proven strategies that work for everything anyway? But the model itself, we're built from the ground up. We're working in collaboration as a team, because what we want you to be able to do is implement this framework or these multiple frameworks, and this will help you adjust your current situation, because most sellers are going to have SOPs. They've got a launch strategy, they've got ways of doing optimization, right? So we're going to be working on more advanced stuff. So it's important that you retain this into your short-term and long-term memory. So if you imagine you'll turn up to the conference, you've got your laptop, all of your notes, curriculum, Chrome plugins, as well as custom bots will all be provided. So if you can imagine, you've got the person who's going to be doing the lecture and the demo, and then you follow along as well as part of that. That will vary throughout the day. And we're going to cover everything from launching to relaunching with inside of these frameworks. Again, this is the frameworks that all these guys are using, like Oana, head of growth at a 30 million brand, which she started last year. The goal is to reach 50 million. Same with Sim, 11 brands. Look at the Product Pinion boys. Andri, 8-figure seller. Matt, 7-figure seller. So there's a lot of experience and personnel being put into this. So it's built from the ground up. When you go home, if you even looked at this a year later, you would still be able to implement everything because it's all broken down. So with the VIP dinner, which is on a separate ticket, we've been doing this pretty much since the very beginning in 2019. It's grown over the years. I mean, it's gone from 50, 60. I think we peaked at 104 2 years ago. Last year, I think there was about 80. So you can safely say about half of the delegates attend. Why is it important for some? It's those nitty-gritty conversations sitting next to sellers in an environment that is relaxed. So you have a 4-course meal, array of options on drinks. Prior to the event, you'll be sent a menu, and then you can pick out all your food options. Obviously, we'll cover whether you're vegan or whether you have, nut allergies or various different allergies. So there's a lot of detail that goes into that. I think the most important, though, is the ability to sit there with sellers around the table, having those kind of private discussions in more of an intimate environment. So that kicks off at 7 p.m. We finish around 11 p.m., as I said, 4 courses overall. You help yourself, order what you want drinks-wise as part of the package. And then when the food's completed and the service is done, people tend to get up, walk around and sit down at other tables. So it's a really good, relaxed environment. And a lot of stuff can come out through that where someone may not share this information around ranking or around scaling, etc., in the main venue, because obviously there's a lot more goes on the day, and training and learning, etc., etc. So it is quite popular. Not for everyone, as I said, about half will attend the VIP dinner, but that will take place on the Friday night, 7 till 11 p.m. Okay, let me add some context to the information about the workshop, the AR workshop, on the landing page. All the details are there, giving you a bit more information and a breakdown of the curriculum. One of the biggest problems we have to solve, and this is inflicted in any industry, it's very hard to find good designers. Like, designers are out there 10 a penny. The biggest problem you face is that you would find a good designer and then they'll disappear on you. Or you spend so much time online going on to onlinejobs.ph or various different places and trying to find ones that are good. So let me give an example. You can spend so much time in the process of the revisions and iterations. Generally, there's 2 things that comes from. One, they don't understand the spec and you've not been able to articulate that. So let's check that box. And 2, they're just not good. They're just average. And so when you're getting your revisions done, you have to keep sending them back. It's like you have to sit up behind them and micromanage them every step of the way. And how can you run a 7 or 8 figure business if all you're doing is sitting down with the design team and trying to get them moving pixel for pixel, or coming up with creatives that are just not very good? And you're going to spend all your time in the iteration process. So that can become frustrating. Point number 2, as there are sellers out there who say great at product, great at marketing, but design's not their thing. So you end up in a situation where design's not your thing, but maybe you don't have a designer at that time, they've moved on, and you want to do it yourself. But the limitations of your ability as a designer, it was important for me to get this. How do we build a workshop that a non-designer could use? It's scalable and you're not paying a fortune out in subscriptions. And obviously, going back to the point from earlier, designers are 10 a penny. Good designers are almost impossible to find and keep. And when you get a great designer on your team and they leave, it leaves a massive hole. So again, with AI, it's important that the stuff that we've put together as part of this workshop, which Joe has developed and will deliver, it's got to be useful. It's no point in doing this if you've got to get a PhD in AI agents and extensive prompts and all the attributes that come with getting a decent output. You want to be able to limit that down to, I know that if I start with my main product image, what can we build off the back of this, including videos or user-generated content, and have a form of analysis to know what I'm trying to deliver to the customer based on data. So we spent a lot of time thinking about how do we deliver this in a way that is consumable to you, the learning curve short, and it doesn't mean that your design team or your VAs no longer do it. You give it to them so that they can do it at scale. So the idea is you can do it yourself, you can do it at scale, or your team members can follow the framework and do this at scale. And then it does away with all those pesky problems of having to deal with looking and finding a designer. As I said, tell me if I am wrong. Most of you are watching this video now. One of your biggest problems, if you haven't got a good designer, is this. And it will take up a lot of your time. As a seller, your 2 most important assets are your time and your attention and where they go. So if it's a department that helps you increase your results by the output that is produced and deals with 90% of the listing, then our job is done. So this is on a separate ticket, takes place on the Friday. It starts at 10 a.m. and then it finishes at 5 p.m. Any other questions? Obviously, feel free to get in contact. Okay, so let's give you a bit more context on the after party. This is included with your conference ticket. So I stick 5-10 grand behind the bar. There's food laid on. Later on in the evening, I will go on and DJ until the closing time. The thing for me about the after party is very, very important, because this is where you build the camaraderie. I've noticed that from previously being a DJ, and I put on my first event in 1994. So I've got a lot of experience when it comes to events, club nights, etc., over the years. But key thing is that how many times have you been to an event and you go to the after party, you got to pay for your drinks, there's no food, or it's little buffet food and you're still starving, hungry, and then you want to leave, music shit, the vibe is just damp, it's like a bit dry. So we like to party at Cellar Sessions. It's not for everyone. I like to line up shots on the bar and just get everyone going and having fun. It's a safe environment. We've got a good security team and people are there to have a vibe, right? And so when you come to Cellar Sessions, I want you to learn hard. I want you to work hard, and I also want you to party hard. Now, partying is not for everyone. You don't have to drink. There's soft drinks and stuff there. But in the main, when you come to London, the venue will be using again from previous times. It's in the heart of Hoxton in East London, which is still walking distance from the venue and the main hotel, which is the Saint Hotel, where a lot of the delegates stay. So it's a few minutes in an Uber and about 7-minute walk, I think it is. But the point I'm trying to get round to is that we want to catch the vibe. Like for me, events are about creating the right atmosphere and the right vibe where people can enjoy themselves, let their hair down. It's like with Amazon, it can be a bit of a nightmare at times. So it's nice to get a break and not think about all the bullshit inside of Cellar Central and all the other moving parts of Amazon. So you can go, you can network, you can enjoy and build new relationships with people or reconnect. I think our return rate to Cellar Sessions is about 47%. So that's quite high, nearly half return over the periods of the years since 2019. And I think the focal point for me is that when I go to events, I want to go to a place where the vibe's really good and it's not all super corporate. There's networking and then there's being fucking pestered by everyone. But I want you to go and have a vibe. And also it gives you opportunity. A lot of people do go out after. So we'll finish around 1 a.m. But because of the nature of Hoxton, like you walk out of the venue. The venue is actually a bar that is used by the music industry. There's it's called the Strong Room, and Strong Room Studios is the world famous recording studios. And they also, because the place is separated into different rooms, we've got the downstairs back area because that's where all the performances from bands and stuff are used. So it's a good setup for us. So we can have a good setup and a rig put into there, and with the DJ setup as well. Like my engineers, some of you may or may not have heard of Ministry of Sound or Fabric. These guys worked at these venues. Like in terms of dance music, the Ministry of Sound and Fabric are world-renowned, highly respected clubs. And you have to be good at what you do in order to be able to work at places like that. That's the kind of CV that people look for, is when they're hiring engineers, where have you worked? And them two places are world renowned. So long short of it, I haven't got to sell it to you. It's part of your ticket, free drinks, food, whether that's soft drink, beers. I'll be walking around giving everyone shots who wants to drink shots. And we'll have a cracking night, and I'll see you there.